Hi everyone, welcome to the Wonder Basement. I'm Tanya and I wanted to share with you a sneak peek of one of my favorite stamp sets in the new 2019 and 2020 catalog. I'm pretty excited about it. They've even featured it on the front of the catalog. It's called Sailing Home. It's a whole grouping of gorgeous nautical paper as well as embellishments, ribbon, and it's really a great pretty set. I think you'll find it very useful for, especially when you're trying to make a masculine card. I have all boys, but it's hard for me to make cards. One, they don't appreciate it all that much, I'm just saying, but you know, sometimes you want to give a birthday card or something to someone you love, and you just it's hard when you're pretty much obsessed in florals and butterflies and lace. So I think this will be really fun. I'm going to pull this in really close, and I'm just going to start by showing you the Come Sail Away Designer Series paper. It's so pretty. So I'm just going to start at the back. This is the first thing I always do when I get my papers, is I open every pack, because the catalog, there's no way that this catalog can just show or express how beautiful this paper is. This ticking is so cute. And then there's the Sailboats along with this lovely green stripe. We're going to be working to look at that. Is that not just so pretty? The whole gray seaweed, and I don't know if that's coral or what, but it's so pretty with this tone on tone. And we're going to use this particular ticking today. Oh, and look at these knots. I just love the rope. And then there's a great newsprint. It really kind of is a throwback to maybe some of the collage stamping that used to be really popular in the early 2000s. And I admit I love collage stamping, but we're not going to do that today. And this compass paper is beautiful. We're also going to be using a little bit of that. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to be making this card. And it's we had some demonstrators that went to On Stage this year and were able to get the pre-order. So we had a demonstrator get together. And I think we, with the pre-order, we made 15 different cards. This happened to be the one I made. I couldn't be there for very long, but we made it, and then about six of us made the cards, and then about 15 demonstrators came, and we all made the new projects. And so this was literally whipped together in, you know, like I don't know, 30 minutes. It was a quickie. And I really took the inspiration from the catalog, you know, the front of the catalog, where it's, you know, just, I don't know, they've got some papers mixed together, and I love the lighthouse. It stamps beautifully. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in kind of close, and I'm using the Balmy Blue and Night of Navy as my ink pads. I guess maybe that'll help you read. I'm still figuring all this stuff out. So what we're going to do is we're going to layer this ticking on the front of my card. This is a pretty easy peasy kind of card. And then I pre-cut everything 4 inches. We were doing everything 4 inches so that we could get the most out of the cardstock, the limited cardstock that we had. This also comes with some beautiful framelits that I'm going to show here in just a second. So then I just put this down, and yeah, I know you could cut that bottom piece off. And in fact, I think when I made the original, I did, but I just sort of wanted to do this tutorial super quick. This is the stamp set, and it's got a lot of great elements in it. I really love the sayings, set sail in the direction of your dreams. I just think it's just a nice set. So I'm going to open this up, and then you can see all of the different, we have a little rope that we're going to use. We're going to use the lighthouse. We're going to use this cute little tag. And I think that's all I'm using for this particular card. However, I have done a roll through of all the other images. I think I have most of them on here. So there are these cute little timepieces. This will be really pretty in some copper or gold or silver to give you an actual mechanism. You could even put it on the compass. I just think it's super cool. And then there's some sailboats. I think there's a larger, yeah, there's a larger sailboat. I've lost that one. And then these are some pre-stamped lighthouses that I had. I usually take my framelits and run them through on a piece of cardstock so that I can see what they're doing, because sometimes it's hard to create if you don't know exactly what it is you're going to be using, or you get something in your mind, like you think that this is going to you know, cut something out, and then you go through and it's only an embossed image, and then you're kind of thrown as far as what you're going to do with it and in the design of your card. So I'm going to take those out. I'm also going to be using the Lighthouses stamp set, the seagull, and the word set. And you'll notice as I am holding on to these right now, these are not falling off of my finger. This is a new feature for our Stampin' Up! Stamps, and ooh, do we love it. It's called cling stamps. Instead of the clear stamps, they've changed the material that they use to do the printing on the stamps, so that you get what the image of what the stamp is. And so you can see, I'm going to lay it down here, press it a couple times, and that puppy is not coming off, you know, until you're ready for it to come off. So that means you can clean your stamps, rub them on your stamp cleaner, and they're going to stay there. So that is super awesome. I'm going to just lay the seagulls down, and then I'm going to put my word stamps. Now I will tell you, they are super sticky, super duper sticky. So you know, if you go to pull one off and it's kind of attached, what you're going to want to do is kind of get your fingernail or the take your pick tool, of which I have one, but I've lost it. So I am in the process of getting that replaced. If you take the spatula on the pick your tool, it will just pop that baby right up. Right now I'm just going to get the closest, sharpest thing I got next to me. There you go. So they are sticky, which is awesome, because that's what you want when you're stamping. You don't want to have to mess with your stamps falling off. So Stampin' Up! Has really done a good job addressing that issue. All right, so I am going to take my my framelits, and I'm going to put my rope here. Actually, I'm going to turn it this way because I think it'll go through a little better that way. I am going to take a piece of shimmering cardstock. Love this stuff. I think I've got enough here to make myself a lighthouse. And let's see, I got another piece here. I'm going to make my little saying set. Now usually what I would do prior to Stampin' Up! Designing their new dies, I would have stamped and then cut, but because the new dies are very close to the image of the stamped, or very close to the stamped image, it's a little more difficult to get that arranged just perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these, and then I'm going to actually use our Stamparatus to align my stamps for the lighthouse. The word stamps are still, you know, I mean, you're going to have a lot of area around that anyway. So I'm just going to cut these out. So I have my words, my lighthouse, and my rope. And this rope is going to give me a nice cut edge, or a nice finished edge on my card between those two, where I put those two pieces of cardstock. So I think I'm finished with this. And then I'm going to pick up my Stamparatus. Okay, and I am going to actually use a piece of cardstock that I think this is the one I got. Yeah, sorry guys. Yeah. Just going to use this, and I am going to, I had the stamp on my Stamparatus, so I had it inked. So I'm just going to put this down, and then I'm just going to arrange my little cutout exactly where I want it. And then I am going to add just a tad bit of snail right here to the center, not very much, so that that will hold the paper down, the image down, and it won't pop out with this when I pull the stamp up. So you can see it. I don't know if you can see that or not. You can see it just sits right down inside that cutout. Okay, and now I'm going to ink this up with my Night of Navy. This is a really pretty detailed stamp. I love this. Ink that up. Spots work well when you're working with the Stamparatus as well. Let's see if I got this. Let's see how that works. Ta-da! I love it when a plan comes together. Look at that. All right in the exactly where I wanted it to be. So then you can just pop this off. I'll show that to you. Oh, I'm still learning here. There you go. See how beautiful that is? So you can get an exact, you can stamp exactly where you want it to go with the Stamparatus. I am kind of a haphazard stamper, so I have to tell you, when the Stamparatus came out, I was a little skeptical because, well, I'm like, why do I need to align my stamps? Why do I need to do that? And as I've played with it and kept using it, it is a really great tool. It's a lot more precise than the old Stamp-A-Majig. So I highly recommend the Stamparatus as a must-have craft tool. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my blender pen and I am just going to lightly go over the edge. I'm going to just try and smear a little bit of the, well, actually I don't have a lot of my ink dried really quickly, so I'm just going to take my blender pen and dot it in my stamp pad. And this little blender pen is really cool because it will give you a lovely marker-like effect. You can kind of watercolor with it. A lot of times you can smear your inks if they're just a little bit wet. Then I'm going to say that water is coming up to my lighthouse on the rocks, so I'm just going to go ahead and color that in at the bottom. Okay. Okay, so I got that done. And then I'm just going to stamp my, oh shoot, I should have kept this out. I'm going to get my little, oh, I picked the wrong saying out. That's funny. Set sail. Well, this is let hope be your anchor through the storms of life. Is that not the truth? So, got a little bit of. Anybody else stamp with inky fingers and it gets everywhere? I hate that when it happens. That's a nicer side. So I'm just going to stamp. Oh, it's just so, it's really pretty. It's really pretty. Pretty font. Let's see if you can see here. Not my face, but this. See how pretty that is? I think it's a really nice font. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to go back to our card and we are going to start adhering some things to our card. This, for example, and I'm going to use, a lot of times I'll put this on my silicone pad before I put it down to glue it. But I'm just going to do it with some snail. You could use other adhesive, use whatever you've got handy. I'm just going to lay this down right here so that this is covering it, and then I'm just going to cut off the edge on either side. And I am going to use some adhesive or some dimensionals. I'm going to use some dimensionals to attach my lighthouse. See, I get stuff to my fingers all the time. I don't know. Must be a messy stamper. I'm sure that's part of it. Okay, let me see what I want to do. I want it to kind of cross over the compass to the ticking, and then I'm going to take my saying. Now what I'm going to do, because I'm going to use this dimensionals to put the saying down. So on one side I'm going to stack 2 dimensionals on the left, and then on the right side I am going to just do 1, and that will give me the height that I need so it's both sticking down, so it's all nice and even. And then I'm just going to lay this on here like so. See, and you can see like the edge. You see it's like that. So pretty easy. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how cool these embellishments are. There are 2 you get in the kit or in the set, and you get the anchor, and then the steering wheel. I know we did a video on this earlier, and somebody, I can't remember what it's called again, but anyway, they've got nice holes. They're kind of charmed, so you've got nice holes to tie your ribbon on, and the cord, actually it's cording, and I love this cording. It is so pretty. It's beautiful. It's got a nice ecru, and I think it's actually crumb cake and navy, so it's kind of got an ecru off-white look, and I just quite adore it. So what I am going to do is I am going to, where's my other piece that I had? Okay. I am actually, the way I did this, the way I did this bow is I actually, it was kind of different besides just wrapping it around the card. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take about, it's about 30 inches. I mean, again, I'm not into perfection here. So I'm going to take my little wheel, and I'm going to thread my ribbon through here. Now what I want to do is I want to put a knot on this side of the wheel and a knot on this side of the wheel so that it kind of holds in one place. So the first knot that you make, it doesn't have to be too particular, because you're just going to run that right up to the edge of your charm. And this ribbon is thick enough that you're not going to have to worry about too much about the knot pulling through, because it's pretty good thickness. So I'm going to just kind of work my knot down. And so now you can see my wheel is not going to go anywhere. Okay, so the next thing you do, I'm going to pull this out just a little bit. You're going to take the thread or the cord, and you've got a loopy at this end. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to run, whoops, this through where I've got the loop at the top, and then I'm going to pull the ends through that loop. So it looks like this. You can see where I've got my little, it came through right here on the loop. Now this, you'd have to play with this just a little bit. Okay, so now I've got my loop on the top. Now I want to tie this into place so that it doesn't roll around on my card. So I'm just going to tie a knot like that, just kind of a square knot right here. right there. Sorry, I'm not used to working backwards. It's funny. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie a bow. And what I want is I want the center of my bow to be right where this wheel is for my, so that it's in the center of my bow. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my other end and I'm going to pull that in just a tad bit, and I'm going to tie a knot on this side. And it's not really to hold anything. I'll show you what it's going to do here in a second. Then what I want to do, this you need to see close. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to start unraveling. Well, actually I might take my fingers first and start unraveling this. Oh. And basically I just want to, if it comes, you know, my bow just came untied, but it won't matter because I just want it to, I want it to unravel to that knot. And then, like, now that I've got the blue and the crumb cake kind of it just takes a little bit of doing here. If you're using scissors, just make sure you don't, like, chop your ends off because, you know, you're working with a blade, so. You know, as I'm telling myself this because I'm annoyed that I've lost my tool pick. I did, there is one exciting thing that's coming along with that, is that they've got their own die roller brush that you can, that gets the little pieces out of detailed dies, so that's kind of a new cool thing that's going to be added into the use of the U-Pick tool. Okay, you see that nice fringe I got going on? Okay, so that's what I'm going to go for now. See, I think it might be better if I just do this first. And I use a lot of ribbon. Now, one of the things that is important when you're to make nice bows and not to make yourself insane as you're doing it, cut off some ribbon. I mean, cut off yourself a good working length of ribbon. I mean, sometimes, you know, 18 inches is usually about, this is a little bit longer because I wasn't exactly sure where the knot would fall. So this is about 30 inches, but you know, ribbon was made to use just like paper. Doesn't do you any good sitting in the drawer. You think it does because you've got it, but really it's all about sharing the love, spreading the beauty of the ribbon and the paper. Okay. If you can see me right now, I have my tongue sticking out. Does anybody else do that? I always made fun of my husband because he did it all the time, and here I am. After so many years, you become one, I guess. All right. Oops. Okay. So you can see I've got like the fringe. I got some fringy going on here. I don't know if you can see. There you go. On both ends. Now I can tie my final bow. And again, I want to bring my little, oh, what is that called? I'm so sorry. I know somebody told me what it was called in my other video and I just cannot remember. Now see, I think my ends are just a tad long, so I'm, oh here guys, sorry. Right. So I'm going to just cut them off just a little bit. And if you, you know, if you're a real stickler and you want this to stick right onto your, where you have it and not let it move around, it doesn't bother me that it's a little moving, you know, it's moving around. Just take a glue dot and put on the back and, you know, you can stick it down. But anyway, this is my, my little sailing project. Where's my, oh yeah, sailing home. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please just ask them in the comments. And if you want to give if you like this and you want to give my station a follow, I would be most honored. So thanks a lot, and have a great day from the Wonder Basement. Bye-bye.